What's up, everybody? It's Grim, and you're watching Thrash Maniac 99 Wrestling, Gaming, and Metal videos. Hit the real intro.
Hello everybody watching on the Thrash Maniac 99 YouTube channel. Welcome back to another episode of the Horsemen Podcast. It's been a little while since we got together for the rather abrasive last episode, but it was so fun.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's all on you, Hannah. Well, then again, it was my fault for even mentioning the album in question, but that was still fun.
It was tag team Europe versus America.
Yeah, it pretty much was. But we were back for episode number 7, and we got an interesting topic for you all today. Now, this is where it gets a little bit complicated to explain, at least for me, but we're talking about our top 10 bands from our respective country, states, or, in my case, surrounding areas, because Ohio doesn't have a metal scene so much, so I had to go for surrounding states like Michigan, Indiana, Kentucky, West Virginia, Pennsylvania. I had to do that. So, but before we get started, of course, let me introduce you all, death metal style, to the other people. Please welcome, Hormaster.
I'm not lagging.
Yeah, for once he isn't lagging. He's at his college internet, and he's...
You should have seen before we started recording.
Huge upgrade. Huge upgrade.
Alrighty, and then above him, from Germany, Hella Klein. That's my best black metal impression right there.
You should have done that.
That's a good one.
And then last but certainly not least, perhaps in competition with me as the most insane person of the panel, from Portugal,
What?
Artur Castano.
What? It's steak? Surely you jest.
Oh, good.
How's it going, everyone?
Well, things are going rather hilarious over here already, because Artur is comedy gold over there in Portugal. So yes, for this episode,
our laughs from somewhere.
yeah, we do. We really, really do. And speaking of laughs, I have been thinking about doing another commercial video promoting Banger, and I'm thinking of making it so over the top, so goofy. I hope if I could send it to the people at Banger they put up on their channel, that'd be awesome, but we'll have to wait and see about that.
Thumbs up.
But nonetheless, so yeah, once again, the topic for this week is our top 10 bands from our respective country, states, or in my case, surrounding areas.
And also on YouTube, when we put on our list, there are going to be links so that each and every one of you can explore some of those bands, because in the Portuguese, as a bit of an introduction to the Portuguese metal scene, not that many bands are that very much internationally well known, except maybe for one, which is will be talked later on. But in the Portuguese metal scene, not that many bands are known internationally. There's more bands coming out of Germany, for instance, and not your fault, and from the United States than they are from Portugal. Although I was astonished, there's over 150 metal bands just in my country alone.
Jesus.
I don't even want to mention how many there were online.
So, I guess to get started, we'll start off with if we got any honorable mentions. I unfortunately didn't have any honorable mentions for my list, so I'm going to toss it over to Ricky for his honorable mentions.
Well, I just have one honorable mention, and the reason I'm putting them here is because I already talked about them in our underrated bands. That's ZZ Top. I could have added them a bit on the list, but there were some bands that I deserve a bit more recognition, but ZZ Top, they were well recognized. They were from Houston. They're from Houston, Texas. They were formed in 1969, so that's almost 30, 40 years. I mean, there's the Southern Rock Legends. Probably their biggest album is Eliminator with, Sharp Dressed Man, Legs.
One of the coolest cars in the world. One of the coolest cars.
Yeah. And the greatest beards in the world.
Obviously.
And those three.
And I'm jealous of the beards because I mean, with my beard I got going now, my goal is to try to get the Scott Ian beard, because that's the best I could do.
I mean, look at my beard. I mean, it's not ZZ Top like, but there's no way I can have that kind of beard. Like, it would be too much.
I can't either.
Yeah. And I think we lost Hannah because I can't hear her.
Ah, Jesus Christ.
And it just went mute.
And
it's expected.
And ZZ Top is still playing on.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can you hear
Yeah.
me? I mean, they're still playing on classic rock radio. I mean, every time I go to.
Wagner is back.
Yeah, because now Ricky's video is missing.
But he's
Not
speaking.
for me.
Keep on speaking.
Is it working?
For me, yes.
Just keep on speaking.
Just
keep
keep
on
going.
speaking.
Just keep going.
As I was saying, they're still playing on classic rock radio. They're Texas legends. I could have, like I said, could have had them a bit more higher, but since I already talked about them in our one of the previous episodes, I had to give more credit to some bands later on the list. So,
Already Hall of Fame.
the top.
Already Hall of Fame.
In the Hall of Fame. Thank God they're in the Hall of Fame.
Yes. Oh boy, and speaking of beards real quick, I just gotta do this because I've been watching too much Ross from Cultaholic as of late. The intro he did upon Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan. The sweaty and the beard, the sweaty and the beard. One's a multi-millionaire, the other has a beard. Their SmackDown Live's main act. I wish they got the sack. The sweaty and the beard, 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 beard.
Yeah.
Noff.
You sexual wank pheasant, you.
Alright, so now that I got that out of my system.
But cool t-shirt. But cool t-shirt.
Oh, it's the 316 says I'll just whip your ass. What?
The sexual wank pheasant. The sexual wank pheasant.
Hey, you're representing Texas. That's 2 points for me.
And Steve Austin is a big metalhead himself, so that's triple points. Alright, so moving on to...
So is the most black metal guy in all of WWE, Aleister Black. Hey, but come on, there were scenes on NXT him practicing with a Dark Throne and Mayhem t-shirts. I mean,
yeah. All right, Hannah, I'm sure you've got a laundry list of honorable mentions.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, everybody knows how big Germany is when it comes to metal. There are so many bands, thousands and thousands and thousands of bands, and I have quite a few honorable mentions, and a lot of bands didn't even make it. For example, Scorpion.
Wait.
damn again.
Wait. There's one thing I need to ask you. Is Avantasia on your list?
And now the whole thing just screwed up even further. Oh, the show wouldn't be the same without technical difficulties now, would it?
Just
Hi.
That was
That's
random
back.
out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Alright, but continue, Anna.
About Scorpions?
I mean, for me, I love the Scorpions. They are a very important band for me, but for me, they are more hard rock. And
I mean, the Scorpions are one of my favorite bands of all time. I can say that clearly. I mean, they're
But
Yeah, I know.
truly they're more hard rock than metal. Output
but-
accepts more metal than Scorpions. But
I know,
Anna?
but are they influential? Yeah, Scorpions are influential.
yeah, of course. And I never questioned that. They are highly influential here in Germany and everywhere in the world as well. But I mean, I wanted to give other bands a place on this list.
Yeah.
And then there are some others like you won't find Powerwolf or Accept or something like that on this list. So
Too bad.
Too bad.
I mean, there are some bands that won't be a surprise, but some.
Probably will be, yeah.
Now let's go to my honorable mentions. I have 7.
Woo!
The first one.
I thought I had a lot of honorable mentions if one day we do the Roadrunner episode. Actually, no. For the underrated albums, I got 6 honorable mentions. I might increase that just to beat you out, Hannah.
I'm sorry. And the first honorable mention is a local shout out to Obscurity, melodic death metal band, something like that. They are from the same region that I am from, the historical region of the so-called Bergisches Land, mountainous country, and I think because of that they deserve to be on the honorable mentions list. They have a very great song about the region where I'm coming from, and I mean, I don't listen to them that often, but check out Obscurity. And then the next one is The Ocean, great progressive metal band. I don't have to say anything more. Then the next one is Die Apokalyptischen Reiter, which is kind of crossover, very weird German band. They mostly sing in German, and I think they're very funny. And
I know that I heard about that band in the Broken Hope documentary because they talked about in the early 2000s doing a European tour with Macabre, Severe Torture, and Die Apokalyptischen Reiter.
I mean, it's German for the Four Horsemen. I think it fits this podcast very well, and they are very weird. The music is a very weird mixed mash of basically everything. And the singer has an amazing voice. I used to listen to them a lot, but I mean, musical preferences change. And then I have quite a few black metal bands that I want to mention.
I mean, it's
obvious.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Obvious.
I mean, it's not Hannah when having a black metal something on the list.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be me if I didn't have any thrash or death metal on my list.
And there will be a lot of black metal
power
on my list.
or power metal in mine.
Mhm.
Power
And
metal
pretty
in
much
mine.
anything from Ricky, so...
Yeah.
So, and the remaining honorable mentions are Der Weg einer Freiheit, which is a great new post-metal band, and they are amazing live. I will see them in, I think, 2 months again, and it's just this kind of music that I love. And then Waldgeflüster, which is a black metal band from Bavaria. Nocte Obducta, which is also a black metal band. Finsterfrost from the Black Forest region of Germany.
Winterfrost.
Mm-hmm.
Love them.
Frost. Not Frost, Forst.
Frost?
Sorry.
Frost.
Forst.
Frost.
Forest. I mean, if that means forest in German, and Frost is like freezing.
Okay.
Got it.
And then the last one is a band that sadly doesn't exist anymore. They disbanded, I think 4 years ago. It's Agato Daimon, which is a kind of gothic black metal band. And I love their music, and it's very sad that they aren't around anymore.
Yeah.
If I were to throw a quick German band that I just discovered recently with their newest album that came out on Friday, Nailed to Obscurity. I heard their new album Black Frost.
Mm-hmm. We'll see them in 2 weeks.
I was impressed, and already that's my album of the year, and we have only gotten a couple weeks into the year, so we're already off to a pretty good start.
I listened to that, and I thought it was a new Insomnium record for some reason. Yeah. But it's really good. I will see them supporting Amorphous and Soilwork in 2-3 weeks.
I haven't got a chance to listen to the Soilwork album, but I know that I'll be doing a review on the Legion of the Damned album.
All right, and now Artur, your honorable mentions if you have any.
I have 4, in fact. I mean, these are bands that. But first off, as I previously stated, the Portuguese metal scene is mostly just known in the Portuguese underground, although some bands have been touring Spain and some other countries, but they haven't been into every big festival. I don't know that many that have been to Wacken, to Hellfest, or even right next door to Leyendas or to Resurrection Fest or whatever. But these are bands that, even though they're mostly well-known inside, we'll leave you the links so you can judge it for yourselves. And I have some bands here that have unfortunately broken up. My first one is a thrash metal band from Porto, which is in the north of Portugal, called Pitch Attack. There were five guys. I actually knew one of them. I mean, but the thrash stuff that they did, it reminded me of old school thrash. I mean, fast, loud, raw. I mean, I think Levi would enjoy this band.
Oh.
There probably have some of their records on YouTube. If you put in Pitch Attack, you'll probably find them. My second one, this is a band that I learned when I was living in the Azores Islands for about almost 20 years ago, which was called In Picantum. They were more of a Paradise Lost Gothic era Paradise Lost phase band, but they were so good. I mean, this was when I was starting to discover what metal was all about, and In Picantum was one of the good examples. Another one, this one I actually discovered recently, and I'm a bit picky about black metal, about death metal. Sorry, not so much about black, but these guys, I recently met them. I recently saw their shows, and they actually have one of their albums here. It's called Beyond Carnage. This is their
Up, and it just pooped out on me again. As like I said, the show wouldn't be the same without some technical difficulties.
But still, as I was saying, the Beyond Carnage band, as I have their EP right here, Profane Sounds of the Flesh. I have it right here. You can find it on YouTube. I think they have it on, but it's good. It's the type of death metal that I enjoyed listening. Not that Cannibal Corpse clicky drum stuff and Corpse Grinder just pig squealing all about, but this is actually quite good. And the last one, kind of a mix between Draconian, more on the depressive side, called A Dream of Paul. These guys were also from the Azores. I actually grew up also listening to them, A Dream of Paul. They're not around today, unfortunately, but they're actually quite good if you enjoyed kind of the more dark funeral doom type, funeral-ish doom type stuff. So those are my honorable mentions.
So nice, diverse list from all of us. Except for me, because like I said, I didn't have any honorable mentions because it was kind of difficult to come up with my list. And speaking of that, now we get into our list, and I shall kick it off with my number 10. So my number 10 band is, now these are in no particular order for me in terms of greatness, so to speak. It's just I had to put 10 bands on a list. But my number 10 is a band from Pennsylvania. Now, they are known as a melodic metalcore / prog metalcore band, and that's August Burns Red. Now, August Burns Red is a band that's always kind of been out of my radar when it came to the 2000s metalcore stuff like Killswitch and Shadows Fall and As I Lay Dying, but I heard of some of their stuff this morning and I thought it was solid stuff. I mean, they're not a bad band, but I do think that when it comes to that style of metalcore, there are bands that do it better, like Between the Buried and Me do it far better, but still not discrediting August Burns Red, but I do need to check out more of their stuff and see what it's more all about as opposed to the stuff I heard this morning. So, that was my number 10, and now we go to Artur's number 10.
My number 10, it's the band that unfortunately they launched. Fortunately, they released a new album. The first one in so many years, and I actually missed out the chance to see their debut album from Lisbon, Portugal, from my city. Their Moonshade. It's a band that kind of combines Amorphis, kind of the melodic death metal style of Amorphis, but they have a little bit more of the gothic side to it. Not too much, but it's still a pretty good band. Unfortunately, I missed out a chance to see the release of the new album Sun Dethroned last December because I was sick. Which was awful. But still, I still listen to them, and Moonshade is my number 10. Links for all the albums will be added. So for everyone that wants to listen, links will be added.
All right, and now Hannah.
I have actually 3 bands on my number 10.
There we go.
There will be a lot of places where there will be several bands, but I couldn't kick out any of these 3 bands because I consider them very important for the German metal history. I'm speaking about Gamma Ray, Halloween, and Blind Guardian. I'm not the biggest fan of this kind of power speed metal thing, but I think they are all 3 very important. My favorite out of the 3 is probably Gamma Ray. But I think all of them are great. I mean, Gamma Ray have put out solid records ever since Kai Hansen left Halloween. And Halloween is no doubt very important because of the Keeper of the Seven Keys and all that stuff. And I have seen them live. I think they're okay. Not, in my opinion, not the greatest live band, but I like them. And then Blind Guardian with all the Middle Earth things. I mean, you can't hate on that, and it's very important for the German metal history.
Yeah, if I had to choose, my favorite out of those 3 would be Halloween. I love those first 3 albums.
I saw them last December with Pumpkins United tour.
Yeah, I saw that at Wacken.
It was my number 2 show of the year.
All right, and now Ricky.
It was magical.
All right, now Ricky, your number 10.
10.
Oh boy.
Whoa. My number 10 is Drowning Pool. And,
Say what?
Yeah, Drowning Pool. Let me explain.
Let the bodies hit the floor.
Yeah.
I do still love that song to this day.
I mean, well, they're from Dallas, Texas, so they're like
Okay.
they're like 8 hours away from me. They were in '96. They were in the the new metal, alternative, post grunge bands, kind of like I guess I want to say kind of like Mudvayne in a way. I mean,
Static X.
Yeah, I mean, Bodies, Tears Away, probably their 2 biggest hits.
Sinner. I actually at the time I enjoyed listening to Sinner.
Same here.
That album is to me their big album, and unfortunately, their original lead singer, Dave Williams, died in 2002.
Yeah, which shocks me still to this day, because I bet if he was still in the band would be a much better band than what they are, because I'm going to be honest, their last album in 2016, that was one of the worst albums I ever heard in my life.
Yeah, I know. I mean, he was quite young. He was like, 30 years old? But, the band has to continue on. They got another singer. I don't remember his name. And then, I don't know if you guys remember this, they got a bit of fame when in 2016, an 82-year-old man went to America's Got Talent.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I mean,
I remember that.
That exploded the internet, and the band saw that, and they brought the 82-year-old man to sing with them, and it was fucking amazing. Talk about you're not too old for that. So number 10, Drowning Pool.
Oh boy. So, all right, and now we get to our number 9s, and I'll let Ricky start this one off.
Okay, this is gonna be the first of many local bands I'm gonna talk about. This one's gonna be special for Hannah because it's a black metal band. So there you go. This band, they're called Los Efemen Rights. They're from across the border. They're from Nuevo Laredo, Mexico. They were born 2006. They're, in a way, I want to say they're if Mayhem and Behemoth had a bastard child. Because those are their two main influences, to the point that they opened up for Mayhem last year in Monterrey, Mexico, which was well received, and they only have 2 albums to their name, which are Evangelion of the Black Ministry and When the Light Dies. Was an amazing album, and they were gonna open for Wada when I saw them, but shit happens and all that. So unfortunately, I didn't get to see them live. I haven't seen them live. I want to see them live, hopefully this year. So for every black metal nerd fanatic in the world, check out Los Efemen Rights from Mexico.
We'll do that.
All right, Hannah.
I have two bands on number 9 again, and that's because they share the singer as of 2016. I'm talking about Bethlehem, or Bethlehem in German, and Dark Nocturne Slaughter Cult. Bethlehem is for me it's the greatest dark metal band ever. I love the albums Dark Metal, Dictius Tenekare, and Schatten aus der Alexanderwelt, which are all great records. And then the latest one that came out with Ornelia, the singer of Dark Nocturne Slaughter Cult, just knocked me out of my feet. Great record, and one of my favorites, the weird avant-garde dark metal bands out there. And then you have Dark Nocturne Slaughter Cult, which are just as pure black metal as it can get. And the live shows are simply insane, with them spitting blood all over the place. I traveled to Scotland to see them live, and it was so worth it going to Taco Bell after the show covered in blood, and because I was hungry. And it was just one of the greatest live shows I've ever seen. I mean, they're crazy. They're totally crazy, but I mean, it works.
You know what you should have done? You should have gone to somewhere probably a Kentucky Fried Chicken. To be like, oh damn, you really butchered those chickens.
and on the way home, I was actually stopped by the police, and they asked me what was going on.
Oh my god.
You'll be like, yeah, I just buried a body 20 miles from that direction. This is my trophy.
Yeah.
Your typical black metal faces, or
I almost got thrown out of the bus when I went to the Behemoth show because I was still having Nurgle's blood running down my face.
I once got kicked out of a restaurant because I wanted to go there after a Watain show. That wasn't a very good idea.
No, especially with Watain.
Yep, but at this very instant, they didn't use the real stuff. Sadly.
Oh.
Alright, Artur, you're number 9.
I think we're spoiling Hannah Klein a little bit too much, because my number 9, it's a black metal band, and it's the band that broke Ricky's mind. And Ricky, there's at least 3 Corpus Christi bands. One of them is a metalcore band but this one is Portuguese black metal, is somewhat, or arguably, Portuguese black metal bands Corpus Christi, with 2 eyes. They have 2 eyes.
Yeah, 2 eyes. Yeah, with 2 eyes.
Yeah, and I mean, these guys have been going strong in the black metal scene since the 2000s. On studio, they're just 2 guys. but live, it's like, they're not like Inquisition. That's two guys studio, two guys live. It's two guys studio, four guys live, and the lead vocalist Nocturnus, he is also part of several black metal projects, and Corpus Christi is old school black metal. I mean, it has a little bit of mayhem. It has a little bit of mayhem. It has a little bit of immoral. Their last album is from 2017 called Delusion, and these guys, Corpus Christi, they have been some of the best black metal that I've seen and heard outside Norway. So number 9, Corpus Christi.
All right, and then my number 9 is a newer band out of Detroit, a melodic death / thrash band called Battlecross. So yeah, this was a band that I always heard a lot of noise about around here, and I gave them a shot this morning, and I liked what I heard. I liked what I heard. These guys are cultivating that influence of the Swedish melodeath scene with, like, say, Bay Area thrash. Combine the two together, and plus the fact that their singer's nicknamed Gumby. That's 2 thumbs up right there, because that is hilarious. Plus he's got a huge beard too, and he's such a goofball. So my number 9, Battlecross, and hopefully they're a band that puts out a new album this year, and I will definitely check it out. You were gonna say, Ricky?
I was gonna say, we said that name, I was like, now I want some gummies, now I want some gummy bears.
Damn it.
You just had to go there.
Alright, and now to our number 8, and I will kick this one off. Number 8, my first of 2 Ohio bands. Number 8, debated as one of the pioneers in death metal, Necrophagia.
Ooh.
And I was listening to some of Season of the Dead, their first album from '87 this morning. I always liked the song Ancient Slumber because it was like so atmospheric and riffy. And I listened to other stuff. It's like Killjoy, the vocalist. It's like, yeah, he's a pioneering in that death metal vocal style, but it almost had a bit of a black metal influence to it. Like it had more of that rasp as opposed to just straight up, ooh. And it made for like a slimy kind of sound before Autopsy came out and just perfected that style. So yeah, number 8, Necrophagia, and rest in peace, vocalist Killjoy, who was the only original member of the band who unfortunately passed away in 2018 from heart failure. So my number 8, Necrophagia. Check out Season of the Dead, their first album, 1987. Artur, you're number 8.
My number 8 is arguably one of the first bands that started the Portuguese metal scene, and Portugal has been known for a rock scene and a metal scene. But the rock scene is mostly known inside, but the metal scene is still a bit unknown, but they're trying. And these guys are from Oporto. They started out in '81, and still to this day they've been going strong with arguably one of the rarest albums you can find in any discography here. The band's name, Tarantula. These guys are a mixture between heavy metal and power metal. These guys, Paulo Barros, who the lead guitarist, is arguably one of the best guitarists that Portugal has ever seen, and also these guys are, as I said, arguably one of the premier metal, one of the first metal bands that started out the Portuguese metal scene. And Kingdom of Lusitania, which the link will be added, it's arguably one of the rarest albums you can find. So if you like classic heavy metal with a dosage of power metal and a little bit of history as well, Tarantula is my number 8.
Alright, Hannah, you're number 8.
My number 8 is very well known south across the border where Ricky lives. They're very big in Mexico, actually. I'm talking about Haggard.
Oh, Haggard!
One of the first concerts I've ever seen, and I was pretty impressed because they had a whole baroque, chamber orchestra with them on the stage. I mean, they combine metal with this kind of baroque classical music, and nobody really does what they are doing. I mean, they have 2 female singers, then a male singer who writes all the music. And I used to listen to them a lot. And I still like them, although they haven't put out anything in the last 8 years or something like that.
Oh, then. And during that, Mr. Kamikaze pops in with a Twitter notification, so that's another thing you gotta expect, a Twitter notification from our honorable pal who was in on one of our episodes, so there you go. And now, Ricky, you're number 8.
Number 8 is the band Nothing More. They're from San Antonio, Texas, formed in 2002, 2003, around there. They're a bit of the alternative rock side, so not really that metal, but still want to give them a nod. Bands in the 2000s were struggling to get a record label, especially when it was barely starting. You had alternative, you had doom metal, you had post metal. It was kind of hard. The turning point with this band was when the drummer decided to step down from the drum and become the vocalist. So, and I can only think of a couple of scenarios when that happened. One of them, Phil Collins, when he was the drummer of Genesis, but became the vocalist, still kind of being the drummer.
Yeah.
And, that change helped the band elevate, especially when they released their self-titled album. It had 2 of the biggest hits. Here Comes to the Heartache and Jenny, which that song is so dark, but beautiful. And it just talks about a really, really tough subject, which is mental illness, for people who have mental illness. This song, to me, makes me cry, but in a beautiful sense that, there's help for people with mental illness. Get help, You're not alone. Just get some help. But Nothing More, my number 8.
And we're back after severe technical difficulties. We had to either restart our Discords or just restart the call. And we're back, and hopefully we can make it through this quite honest train wreck because of Discord being on the fritz. But hopefully we can salvage on, and hopefully next week or next episode will be better. But so we left off at getting ready to talk about our number 7s, and I shall kick this one off. And I was saying before Hannah's Discord went to shit, I was saying that she's gonna love me for this, love me forever, because Panopticon's on my list.
I love you so much.
And also, they're the only Kentucky band on my list, because when I was trying to look up bands from Kentucky, they were the only metal band that even are from Kentucky, to my knowledge.
But a very damn good one.
Yeah, I will say, like I said before on previous episodes, I wasn't too familiar with Panopticon, but after listening to some of their stuff this morning, black metal with bluegrass, banjos and stuff.
It's fucking amazing.
I didn't think it would be possible. I didn't think it was possible to make black metal out of banjos. But it was really good. It was really, really good stuff from what I heard. So, yes, Panopticon made the cut for me. So, yay! I think I've redeemed myself in Hannah's eyes after the last episode.
I've forgotten everything we did on that episode. So yeah,
I guess all is forgiven. All right.
Now you can't sleep without being afraid of not waking up.
Of waking up and you're by my bed with a knife. How dare you, people?
How dare you!
I've just realized this. In every episode, Ghost always comes up. If you think
No,
about
no, 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 no. No speak of ghosts today. No speak of ghosts today.
I know.
No.
Go on.
Shut it, or as Matt Hardy would say,
www.com.
What did he say?
delete.
What did he say?
No,
Okay,
go.
Okay.
Now go.
let's get back into it. So,
Let's get
back
into
to
it.
our regularly scheduled program. Ricky, you're number 7.
I'm gonna say this. Panda's being the most spoiled here right now. I'm gonna spoil her again. It is a black metal band from my hometown. They're called Division Black Noise. They were formed 2011. They're this black atmospheric metal band, which I know Hannah really likes. Those are atmospheric black metal bands. So this will be for you. They've only released one album, their self-titled debut album, which I, fortunately, was the first person to review their album and gave it a 4 out of 5 rating. And I know the guys in the band. I technically went to high school and college with them, and they opened up for Uwada when I saw them. So for fans of Mayhem, Burzum, Rotting Christ, and early Dimmu Borgir gear, you're gonna love Division Black Noise.
Okay.
All right, Hannah, you're number 7.
Yeah, I was busy again and have 2 bands on my number 7. Sorry. The first one is Imperium.
Ooh, Imperium. I've
And,
heard about them.
and Falkenbach, and both are.
Oh, you did not went the Falkenbach route. I love Falkenbach.
And both are 2 of the earliest examples of German black metal that went a bit experimental at one point. Imperium is, what I love about them is that they combine black metal with this kind of operatic, but not female operatic, but male operatic approach. And they have a violin on stage and are very symphonic, but not cheesy. They are very intellectual, I would say, and the songs mostly dealing with nature. I saw them last year, and I mean, I had goosebumps for the entirety of the show. And for me, they are very important. And then the second one is Falkenbach, one of the earliest examples of black metal that went a bit in this kind of pagan folkloric route. The first like 3-4 records are legendary in my opinion, and the latest one, the band behind Falkenbach, nobody has ever seen a photograph of him. Very mysterious guy, and he is from the same region I am from, and he has started to sing in the dialect of his ancestors, a very rural German dialect that isn't spoken much today, and I can understand it because I've grown up in the same region, and it means a lot. It means a lot to me because it's from where I am from, and that's why I love Falkenbach even more. Even though the latest record wasn't musically that great, but I can't hate on it. I love it, and yeah.
All right, and now Artur, you're number 7.
My number 7, it's probably one of the newer bands that I discovered. It's called From Sintra, from about 20 kilometers from where I live, and possibly one of the most beautiful locations in the country, Sintra, Carbon Soul. But it spells K-A-R, not C-A-R, K-A-R. Carbon Soul. And this is the type of I don't want to say it because although it's female fronted metal, I would say that they have a little bit of early Nightwish with the edginess of some Arch Enemy before they started adding photographs from their shows.
That's so sad.
But the voice of Mafalda, the vocalist, it's a powerful voice. I've seen Carbon Soul live, and her voice is just as good in the studio as it is live. And even though in studio she does a little bit of the clean vocals, the more operatic ones, and the death growls, live, she is a total beast live. So number 7, Carbon Soul.
All right, and now we've reached that number of the beast again, number 6. And I shall let Artur start this one off.
It's another band. I would say fronted by a woman, but it's also a great band as well. And I so happen to have one of their first album called Inner Blast. This is their first album, Prophecy. They have released some EPs before, but this vocalist Liliana, she is more if Taria and Angela had a bastard child. She can do as operatic as she can be as operatic as they come, but all of a sudden you start to hear some amazing death roll. So these are two bands that, while Inner Blast does have a little bit more gothic than Carbon Soul, but they both have those strong voices. So number 6, Inner Blast.
All right, Ricky, you're number 6.
My number 6 is I don't want to say a new band, but it's kind of newish in a way. They were really got popular in 2017 when I guess the reverse for Renderman's Thrash came by, and that is Dallas' own Power Trip.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, 2008 it started. They were big influenced by bands like DRI and SOD. 2 albums to the name. Their biggest ones being Nightmare Logic, with that anthem of a song, Executioner's Tax, Swing of the Axe. I swear to God, when I first heard that song, I thought it was like an 80s band. It sounds and feels like it was made in the 80s, which, here's what I might get shit about. This is a song if Metallica would have made in the 80s. It sounds so Metallica-like, but in the way, bit of Megadeth, also because of the political side, but
yeah,
Metallica side. But yeah, number 6, Power Trip, which I want to see them live. I had to see them live.
I want to see them live too so much.
Me too. Maybe they're a bastard child of Megadeth and Metallica. Since
I would say
I was gonna say, what if it was the bastard child of Metallica and Megadeth, and then the bastard child of Cro-Mags and DRI, and then both of those babies met and fucked? That would be the shit that they birthed.
DRI and Metallica. DRI and Metallica sounds a bit better. You know, the bastard child DRI and Metallica.
And Dave Mustaine was the teacher.
I would throw in Suicidal Tendencies
the nanny.
too.
Yeah.
And I would even kind of throw in Obituary too, in the way the vocals are.
Yeah.
Alright, my number 6 is the second Ohio band on my list. And the closest one, just only an hour away from my house, from Athens, Skeleton Witch.
Yeah!
So, now I'm a huge thrash fan, but Skeleton Witch was always a band out of the new thrash scene that began in the 2000s that always kind of escaped me. But I listened to their stuff this morning. Their early stuff was basically the bastard child of Dissection and Testament, if I were to draw a comparison for their early stuff. And then I listened to their stuff from the new album last year, and it's like they've completely evolved. It's like they're no longer a blackened thrash band anymore. They're more, I guess, prog black metal would be an appropriate tag, perhaps to some degree.
Melodic
Melodic,
black metal.
prog, black metals.
With a touch of atmospheric.
But nonetheless, so Skeleton Witch, very talented band, and from what I've seen of interviews with them, I saw the interview from the YouTube channel Kids Interview Bands. They're such crack-ups. That's awesome. So, Skeleton Witch, my number 6, and Hannah, your number 6.
Again, my first number 6 is Imperium Decadent, and the second band is Luna Aurora. Both are from the south of Germany. Imperium Decadence isn't a very old band. Formed in 2006, and so far they have released 5 studio records and are a proper black metal band in my opinion. And all 5 records are amazing. Probably one of my favorite black metal bands out of Germany. And the latest record, This Money Was, I saw them on one of their release shows, and it was amazing. And then Luna Aurora is a black metal band from Bavaria, and what I love about them is the drum production on every fucking record, especially the cymbal work. I mean, if you listen to it with good headphones or a good stereo system, it's just amazing what this guy behind the drums does with the cymbals. It's just, I mean, it gets me every time I listen to it, and then the fact that they sing in Bavarian, in a Bavarian dialect, and combine that with black metal. I'm just so much addicted to the latest record, Horgast, and it's such a shame they have split up because I would love to hear more of them, but they will be forever remembered, as at least by me, and yeah.
And now we get to the nitty-gritty, the top 5. Oh my god, and I shall kick this one off. Number 5, the second of 4 Pennsylvania bands. And this one's going to be a little bit obscure for some people. And it was mentioned once on an episode of Lockhorns by a commenter. A forgotten thrash / prog metal band that also helped pioneer symphonic metal, Believer. I listened to their album Sanity Obscure. Oh my god, like, they are so fast, so heavy. Their vocals kind of remind me, it's like if Power Trip's vocals existed in the 90s. It was that kind of punky style. And also prog, blah, 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 I cannot even speak. Progressive songwriting, but within the thrash metal world, while including influences of opera and classical with some female operatic vocals on a couple tracks. So yeah, if Banger ever redid that symphonic metal chart, Believer and Celtic Frost should be the legend. Celtic Frost, because of Into the Pandemonium, it was very symphonic, but more so Believer would be the legend in my mind. I would
debate more. I would debate more on that. I would replace Celtic Frost or Emperor.
Yeah. But yeah, Believer. And also, the thing that kind of would probably give them a little crap is that they do get labeled as a Christian band, because a lot of their lyrics revolve around that world, but it doesn't matter because the music itself is fucking amazing. You know, prog, thrash, symphonic. It's all over the place. Even maybe a touch of death metal in some of the fast passages in this music. But yeah, Believer, my number 5. Hannah, your number 5.
The 2 bands on my number 5 both come from the Aachen region, which is very much known for its classical black metal scene, evolving around the Van label. One of them is probably one of the earliest black metal bands in Germany. It's called Nagelfahr, not the Swedish one, the German one. And one of my favorite bands out of this kind of collection of bands. I love their record Virus West and also Schrongoth and all that stuff. Sadly, they disbanded, but one of the main guys behind that band formed a new band called The Ruins of Beverus, which are one of the heaviest, most atmospheric, fucking heaviest black metal bands around. I've seen them live last year, and I will see them live in 2 weeks, and I'm so looking forward to see them. It's just so heavy, so meditative, so atmospheric, but also very brutal, and the lyrics are great. And this guy, Alexander von Meilenwald, in my opinion, is a fucking musical genius. And that's why his bands are on my number 5.
Alright, Artur, you're number 5.
Another one of the more recent bands that I recently discovered from the north of Portugal, most specifically the Porto area. They're called the Ominous Circle. I mean, Ominous Circle, I would describe it a bit as it has its touches of black metal. It has more death metal to it, but oh my gods! I mean, it was awesome. First time I got to see them, they opened up for Asphyx. They blew up the show, and the second one, they opened up for fucking Mayhem. They opened up for Mayhem, and while I was sleeping with a British band dragged into sunlight, Ominous Circle was awesome. Although they are more theatrical, they always wear like these capes, gowns, cover their faces and such. But still, their music is fucking awesome. Number 5, Ominous Circle. And they've only released one album last year, and still awesome.
Alright, Ricky.
My número 5 is another local band, and this is the one that I'm pretty sure not a lot of people are gonna like. Well, I like them because they're a local band. For fans of Breakman the Horizon, NASCAR Alexandria, Pierce the Veil, and Day to Remember, yeah, I kind of figured. Then you should listen to the band Taken by Tide. They were formed in 2014. I mean, they're one of the big bands in my town that if you come to my town, there's one or two bands. They're one of them that we mention the most. They've only just released 2 EPs and a single at the beginning of the year. They opened up for POD, which I saw them live, which was amazing. And the funny thing is that it started as a 5-piece band. They went to a 6. They went to 5. And now to 4. And the only consistent member is my good buddy Omar. He was the rhythm guitarist, and now he's the lead vocalist, which, my God, he sings great. He was scared at first because, lead vocalist didn't have the same energy as the original vocalist has. So, but he does a pretty good job. But like I said, people who like that kind of like metalcore, the Pierce the Veil, I didn't remember us like Alexandria. You'll like Taken by Tax.
Alright, and now to our number 4s, and I shall let Ricky start this one off.
Okay, my number 4, I kind of did when I was thinking about Power Trip. That's DRI.
Yes!
I mean, it's like being in Texas, you can't have DRI in any list. You need to have them in any list, no matter what. I mean, they're pioneers of the crossover thrash metal genre. Forming 82, they're still touring. I mean, probably the biggest album is Thrash Stone in '85 with Abduction, which is a great anthem, and Baby Fields. They're still touring. And I was gonna see them live, but shit happened, so I didn't see them live. But I want to see them live. Hopefully, this year if they tour again around my area, I'll see them live. But DRI, highly influential for bands like Power Trip. Same thing with SOD and Nuclear Suicidal Tendencies. So yeah, for DRI.
Hell yeah. Alright, Hannah, you're number 4.
My number 4, surprisingly, is just one band. And Arthur, I know that Arthur loves a few of their records. I'm talking about Secrets of the Moon.
Oh, yes, I do. Yes, I do.
A few, nah.
Yes, I do. Secrets of the Moon.
And I mean, Sun, the latest record. Still one of my favorite records, was on my top 10 all-time records. I think they will release a new record this year, and I'm very, very excited about that. And I hope they will tour again, because I'm addicted to that sort of music. And I won't say more.
Excellent.
Because I'm just rambling about black metal all of the time.
Oh God.
And,
Okay.
I saw them live, opening
Supporting
up for
Behemoth.
Yeah,
Me too. With
with
Mick Wah.
MGLA.
All right, Artur, you're number 4.
My number 4, and this is a band that I influenced Ricky to listen, and he actually enjoyed it. If you think about Portuguese metal, you think about ships, you think about Romans, Celts. You don't think so much about Vikings, but we did have some Vikings here as well. And this is one of my favorite bands here in the country. I'm sad that these guys had to quit and then went back again through a crowdfunding. But my number 4, Gwydion, from Lisbon, Portugal. These guys, I mean, you have two parts of Viking metal. You have Tyr, which is the more melodic type, which is a melodic type side, and you have the rougher stuff with a monomart. Gwydion always tries to combine both of them. It was sad that some of the members had to leave, but like I said, metal music here in Portugal, it's not the easiest thing to come about, but still, nevertheless, they're one of my favorite bands here in the country. Well, guys, I've met them all, especially the guitarist is as crazy as me, and but he is a top class act. Well, all of them. But still, number 4, Gwydion.
Amazing band. Amazing band. I love their previous album. Loved it.
And live, these guys are awesome.
Whew. Okay, now my number 4, my third of 4 Pennsylvania bands. And probably in my eyes, one of the most underrated early death metal bands, and that is Incantation. I love me some Incantation, especially that first album, Onward to Golgotha. Fucking depraved, doomy death metal with a touch of that black metal kind of raw production, because it's just so gross sounding and vocally, like, whew, talk about lows. Plus those songs, Devoured Death and Golgotha, whew, especially Devoured Death, that short 2-minute, 20-second blast of just sheer brutality. And then, hell, even their latest work with John McEntee now on vocals while still playing guitar. Yeah, like me some Incantation. But now on to our top 3. And I'll let Hannah start this one off.
This is the last time I'm ranting about black metal for today. Because now I'm talking about my favorite German black metal band, and that's Heritoire from Bavaria. And these guys have only released 2 records. And the last one, The Circle, just blew me away. It's so melodic, it's so depressive, and it's so atmospheric, and it's has been on my heavy rotation ever since. There is a great song with Nash from Alcest on there that I love. I saw them opening for Enslaved, and it was just amazing. And even though they have only released 2 records so far, I mean, I love them with all of my heart, and probably one of my favorite songs that has ever been released has been put up by them, and it's called Snow Colors. And it isn't even an official song, but it's so depressing that I love it so much. For me, there isn't anything better to chill out and to dwell in my solitude, but to listen to some Heritoire.
All right, Artur.
Now, this one is very near and dear Now this other band is also very near and dear to me, especially since, as I said previously, I did not always live in Portuguese mainland. I used to live on the islands as well, and in these when I was discovering metal, I discovered this band called Morbid Death. I have one of their albums right here. These guys are from the Azores, as I said. They started out a bit thrashy, death, but they went more on the gothic side. And if in Portuguese mainland it's hard to break through, in the islands is even harder. These guys only released about 3 albums. They made a live compilation called Final Factor in the Azores. They eventually broke up, but about 10, 12 years after they broke up, they're back again. They have started to record some new stuff, and like I said, this one is very near and dear to me because I was discovering metal, and these guys helped me do so. So, Morbid Death from the Azores.
Alright, my number 3 is the last Pennsylvania band on my list, and this is a new band that's only been around since, I believe, 2012. And I get a feeling that hopefully if they put out a new album this year, hopefully it will really spike them up in like the touring ranks and become a headliner. And I'm talking about Black Crown Initiate. I mean, I've heard both of their albums that they come out, but my favorite is their debut, The Wreckage of Stars, in 2014. Think of it as what would happen if Mastodon played progressive death metal. Because musically, it's got a lot of elements of Mastodon, Decapitated, Cynic, Gojira, and Opeth. And it's that clean vocals mixed with the growls. But the clean vocals remind me so much of Bron Dahler's vocals from Mastodon, and I love Bron's voice. And their guitarist, Andy Thomas, who does the clean vocals, he's very good, but their primary vocalist, he can go low as well, but they do a lot of great acoustic guitar work. Occasionally, the guitars will get a bit djenty because they do dabble a little bit in that H-string sound, but they don't abuse it like Periphery. But Black Crown Initiate, I feel, is going to be the new Opeth at some point in terms of the progressive, extreme prog metal scene and become one of the big bands in that scene. Hopefully, if they put out a new album this year, it will hopefully spike them up to headliner potential. All right, Ricky, you're number 3.
My number 3 is a band called Blue October. I don't know if you guys heard about them.
I've heard the name, yes.
They're from Houston, Texas, 495. They're alternative rock. I mean, these guys have really become like Texas legends with their album Foiled, which was released in 2006, giving them the biggest hits of their entire career, especially the song Hate Me. Also, they got some really good tracks like She's My Ride Home, Into the Ocean, and Drill a Wire Through My Cheek was a track on Salt Creek's soundtrack, so that gave them a bit of a recognition further on. And the main vocalist, which I've met, thank God I met him, he's gone through a lot of stuff in their early career with drugs and alcohol. He's such an inspiring person to talk to. Like I said, I've met him when he came to my town. Unfortunately, couldn't take a picture with him, but he signed my ticket, which I just proudly have it displayed on for my record song. And their 2018 record was a pretty good record. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 rating. If you're into the alternative rock spectrum, you're gonna love Blue October.
Alrighty. And now for our top 2. And Artur, you start this one off.
Oh boy, number 2. They're from the south, but if you listen to these guys, but first off, if you like Iron Maiden, you're gonna like these guys.
Oh,
even if you listen to the vocalist, who his name is Artur as well, and you put Bruce Dickinson right next to it, it's almost an unrecognizable difference. Old school heavy metal from the south side of Portugal, which is the Almada region. Attic Demons. This is their 2014 album, Let's Raise Hell. But these guys have been around since the 90s, and they've only released so far about 3 albums. I have 2 of them in my collection, and like I said, the comparisons between them and Iron Maiden, I mean, guitar style, vocal style, and such, I mean, it's almost irrecognizable. I would have much preferred these guys opening up for Iron Maiden when they were here some years ago than fucking Raven Age or fucking Tremonti. So
I'm gonna see Iron Maiden in September, and Raven Age are gonna open.
And so my number 2, Attic Demon.
All right, Hannah, you're number 2.
My number 2 consists of the Teutonic 4.
Oh boy!
Oh!
Yes.
Teutonic Thrash Master. Destruction, Creator, Sodom, Tanker.
Yep. I mean, there's such important bands, and I fucking love Creator. I'm not the biggest thrash metal
Destruction
listener.
right here.
Creator. Oh, the Sonic Creator's the man.
But I could listen to Creator every day, and it's just I the concert. Well, I mean, I've seen them a couple of times, and it's so energizing. And I mean, I want to mosh all of the time when I'm at Creator show. It's simply it's such energetic music, and so important for the development of the German metal scene, and true classic. Everybody who's from Germany and listens to metal should know that. And
The Teutonic 4.
The Teutonic.
If I had to rank them from my favorite to least favorite, it would be Creator, Sodom, Destruction, Tankard.
same.
Yeah, same with me.
Yeah.
I would reverse it. Destruction, Creator, Sodom, Tankard.
I mean, Creator. When has Creator released a bad album? They've never released a bad album, especially Gods of Violence. My God.
Yeah, that was my favorite. That was neck and neck with Nightmare Logic for my favorite of 2017.
The last 2, Gods of Violence and Phantom Antichrist, were beasts.
Yeah.
Were beasts. And
let's not forget the old classics like Pleasure to Kill and Extreme Aggression.
Yeah.
The Mad Butcher, Curse the Gods. The Mad Butcher, Curse the Gods.
Violent Revolutions is great.
Oh,
And of course with Sodom,
Oscar Bomb.
yeah, Agent Orange, Persecution Mania. But my favorite song, Sodomy and Lust. Brutal, so brutal.
And with Tankard, it's everything with beer on it.
As Sam Dunn says, let's get Tankard, because that's what I like to do in my spare time.
Ding.
Oh, God. Okay, Ricky, you're number 2.
Originally, I had him at number 1, but as I did more research, I decided to give him to number 2, and that's Pantera, my number 2. I mean, what more can I say about Pantera that's already been said?
Right.
Boy, here we go.
Dimebag Darrell, Vinnie Paul, Rex Brown, Phil Anselmo, Cowboys from Hell.
Time out. 3 out of 4 are Texan.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Vulgar display of power. I mean, like, even their earlier stuff is pretty good, even though they were power metal at the beginning. It's still pretty good, especially Dimebag. Such probably one of the greatest guitarists of all time.
Yep.
And it's unfortunately that Dimebag passed away, and then last Vinny. But at least they're together again, playing some fucking tunes up in heaven.
And my brother's probably up there. Is up there watching them play right now.
And just a bit of a disclaimer. I don't hate Pantera. I just think that they get too much credit for they get some fans that they are just like Slayer fans. They only see Pantera and don't see anything surrounding.
Oh yeah.
All right, and then oh, go ahead, Ricky.
I was gonna say, well, yeah, I see why. I mean, sure, there was, the Pantera behind the music. They were saying that metal was dead and Pantera came back, and they brought metal back. But in the '90s, there was still some good metal. I mean, you got the Norwegians, the black metal scene. You had bands like Paradise Lost doing their stuff. Yeah. The death metal scene in Florida. Metal wasn't dead. It was just
growing.
It was
underground.
Yeah.
It was dormant. It was dormant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's still
if
one
anything,
of the
if anything, Pantera helped keep it mainstream at least, along with Metallica and Megadeth. But my number 2, of course, probably one of my favorite melodic death metal bands of all time, the Black Dahlia Murder. Fucking love BDM. They're awesome. Trevor, the vocalist, such a freak. And it's awesome how he always cites Carcass as his biggest vocal influence to do the highs, similar to Jeff Walker, maybe a little higher, and the lows, similar to Bill Steer on the early Carcass record. So I totally respect him for that. And plus, they're another one of those bands that has never made a bad album. I mean, and they go all over the place. They'll do mellow death songs, or even sometimes they'll go techie, sometimes brutal, or traditional death metal. It's like they're... And also, you can get a little bit of grind in there, and with Trevor's high notes, it kind of almost reminds me of listening to black metal to some extent. It's like they're the American definition of modern extreme metal to an extent. And, of course, one of the biggest bands on Metal Blade Records, and constantly are always top 30 on Billboard, which, hey, without that, for at least the mainstream rock folk, if it wasn't for that, would some of these people get into extreme metal? Probably not. So, Black Dahlia Murder, my number 2. And now, time for our number 1. And I shall go ahead and get this one out of the way. My number 1, one of the forefathers of grindcore, Repulsion, from Flint, Michigan. Love Repulsion. I wish that their lineup was a little more stable and they'd make a second album, because I'd be curious to hear what they would do if they made a new album, because Horrified is a classic, of course, in the world of grind. Without Repulsion, there is no Napalm Death, there is no Terrorizer, maybe not even Carcass or Brutal Truth if it wasn't for Repulsion and that raw demo recording with that over-distorted bass tone. Holy balls! What more can I say about Repulsion? Scott Carlson's vocal genius, pioneer that... One of the few pioneers in the early days of that death metal grindcore vocal approach. And lyrically, gory. Gory shit. So, Repulsion, my number 1. And the moment we've been waiting for from Artur.
This one is a bit obvious. I mean...
Is this mine?
Ricky knows it. Anna knows it. Levi probably knows it. I don't know if you heard. It's Moonspell.
Sinistro.
I mean, although Sinistro, I'm still discovering Sinistro. It's not.
I
It's
saw
not
them
that I
open.
don't like Sinistro.
I saw them opening for Paradise Lost.
Did you like it?
I don't know. I thought it was a bit weird.
Like I said, it is not easy digestion, but
I mean, I like
nevertheless,
the music. I just didn't like her singing.
you get used to it. It's not easy at first, but number 1, the band that broke out into the world. It's Moonspell. I mean, I could speak here about Moonspell any day of the week, and what these guys did over these past almost 30 years, it has been awesome. They've been an underground band. Then they signed with Century Media. They signed with Century Media. They started to produce a whole bunch of records, which are today iconic, like Wolfart, Irreligious, and so much more. But After they got Darkness and Hope and I would say their breakout album, Memorial, they went all over. It was with Memorial that they went for the first time to Wacken, they went for the first time to Hellfest, they went for the first time to every single major festival in the world. They were the ones that somewhat put Portugal. They're the Portuguese version of Sepultura. They put the country on the map in terms of metal. As for the genres, a bit of black with a touch of goth, occult, and so much more. And recently, with Portuguese history, with their recent album 1755, all sang in Portuguese but got great reviews everywhere in the world. So, Moonspell, kind of an obvious choice, number one.
Alright, and now, Hannah, the moment we've been waiting for from you.
I think mine is obvious as well. Too obvious.
Rammstein!
Richtig! I mean, there is no way for me around this band. I love them with all my heart. I love their lyrics. So poetic. So much meaning behind them, and then you have the music and the live shows. My first ever metal band that I got into, I mean, people debate if they're metal. For me, they are.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, they are.
I would put them more in the industrial side.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
And the age for me, and everything's fine. I don't know. It's just great, and I love them so much.
The only way that people outside Germany learn German.
Yeah, I mean, when I was staying in the US and was in the music class there at a high school, the school counselor came in and was like, Du hast, and I was like, what's going on? And because he knew that I was in there, and I mean, people asked me if they could buy my shirts when I was at a beach in Oregon and shit like that. I mean, it's the only German band that people all over the world know, and everybody can sing Du hast. Everybody knows about the fire. I mean, I get excited talking about them, and I get even more excited listening to them.
And spoiler alert, there's a Rammstein album in my underrated album.
In mine too.
I think we have the same link.
Alright, Ricky, you're number one.
Alright. My number one is a local band from my town, and already...
Garth Brooks.
No, it's from my town. Garth Brooks. Fuck no.
I'm just kidding.
Okay. I already talked about the metalcore scene in my town. I talked about the black metal scene in my town. And I think I've spoiled Hannah a lot, and a bit of Levi, and I'm gonna spoil Levi a bit more with my number one. This is a band that they started in 1989. They call themselves obscure death metal, which I don't know what the hell that means. I've tried to look it up. They're the only band that call themselves that. They've opened up for Cannibal Corpse, Gorguts, Massacre, and Bolt Thrower. They're legends in my town, and that's the band Anthema. They've only released one demo tape, which is called the Rehearsal Tapes. It was well received in 1992 and got them some fame that, like I said, they opened up for those bands. Unfortunately, they broke up a year later, but they came back in 2018 and started doing more shows. And they have plans for 2019 release, which I really, really want to listen to them. But like I said, they're local legends. I mean, they're probably the biggest band in my town, and I have to give them the credit that they deserve. And they're still kicking ass. So my number one, the band Anthema.
I'm surprised that Niall wasn't even mentioned.
Well, they're South Carolina, but...
No. Niall is from Dallas, Texas.
Oh yeah, but yeah, I just want to.
But yeah, and just as a note, when it comes to Ohio stuff, we're not so much known for bands. We're known that musicians that were born in Ohio that ended up being in bigger bands. Like, I think the big three musicians from Ohio most people would know of is Maynard James Keenan, Trent Reznor, and Marilyn Manson. They were all born in Ohio and ended up doing other things outside of the state. So, yeah, so that pretty much will do it for this episode. And hopefully, if I remember, a link for, say, a song or album from each band on our list will be in the description box if my brain can process this. But nonetheless, that will do it for episode 7. Reminder, episode 8 is going to be a very good one, top 10 underrated albums. Episode 9, combination of censorship and fashion and metal discussion. And episode 10,
we don't know.
But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Peace out. Keep it metal, and we'll see you next time.
Keep the faith.
And no more lagging, Ricky.